Thank you, thank you. Because you know Destiny normally does this. Appreciate it.
Yep. No, that's why I'm here.
Hey. And that's another reason why he's one of my favorite people in the world. I have learned so much from this man who's about to speak to you today. Not only is he a good, solid, decent human being, but he truly is one who believes in that open hand policy. His fist is never closed. Anything that goes to Corey Moore passes through his fingers and he pours into other people. He's taught me a lot, not just about networking and business, but he's introduced me to people. In fact, I know Terrence Dowling because of Corey Moore. He makes opportunities happen, not for himself, but for everyone else. And in so doing, his cup stays full. So if nothing else, you need to learn that from Corey. His real job is he's in the tax business, and Corey prepares taxes for people. He understands a lot about finances, but he's best known for his work with Pro Networker. ProNetworker.com is the premier organization in Atlanta and now the country. Pandemic has helped him take this nationally, so probably internationally, globally. So Corey is known as the Network King in and of around Atlanta, and he has premier advice on how to build your network. So we've asked him, there's no one else that even came to my mind when I thought about the fact that we need to help you build your networks, particularly at this time of year where organizations are doing their year-end parties, holiday parties. You need to go into those events with a particular mindset. And so this man is the one that's going to help you do that. So without any further delay, I'm going to turn it over to Corey, and you are going to be blessed. Thanks, Corey.
Thank you, Dr. Linda Wiley. You are one of my favorite people. And you know what's interesting about networking? We met each other, or when we really had a real conversation with each other. Her and I went to an event. The event wasn't well attended. Wasn't one of mine. went to an event, and I want to say, I don't think I was speaking at that event. Was I speaking?
Yeah, you were. Okay, in fact, I came to your workshop.
And it was literally you and maybe one other person who was in the audience. And I have always believed that regardless of how many people are at an event, it doesn't matter. If there's 1,000 people at the event, great. If there's one person, then it's just going to be an intimate, because you never know where that connection is going to lead you. And Linda, that was how many?
Maybe like 2015, 2016.
Something like that. It has been a while. So we have been doing so many things together. So I thank you for that. Terrence and I have been doing things together for years now. Great group. Thank you guys for having me. But I say that to everyone here. Networking is so powerful. It's so powerful. By a show of hands, and you can either do the hands on the screen or hands on the reactions, but how many people actually like networking? How many people like networking? A couple hands, okay. Let's do this. How many people don't like networking? Go, and then there's probably the people who are not showing their face right now on the screen. But the power of networking is so large. Like it is a difference between night and day. And it's one of those to where, like Linda said, I started my entrepreneur in having an accounting firm. So doing taxes for individuals and small businesses. And I grew my accounting firm through networking, through the power of networking. When I actually went to my first networking event, and actually had somebody introduce me to it, like I was actually working in a company doing inside sales. So I didn't really have to network. And we had the #1 product. So I really didn't have to market ourselves and stuff like that. But it wasn't until I got out of corporate America and started my business, my tax business, and a business associate of mine said, "Hey, you need to get out and network." And I was like, "What is that?" She's like, "Yeah, let me show you." So the whole fact of coming to an event, introducing somebody to what it is that I do, and them give me money, that was awesome. That was awesome. I was hooked after that. I was like, wait a minute. I walk up to somebody. They don't know who I am. I tell them what I do and they give me money. Yes, put me down for that. And that's literally how networking was for me. And when I then started to talk to certain people, and I remember that, so I grew my business through networking, which was phenomenal. As I was networking so much, I then started realizing I wasn't just the only person having the benefit of networking. Other people were having this benefit as well. And in my tax business, when I would see clients year after year after year, and I saw my clients, their business was going up, I would ask them, hey, what are you doing? And they would tell me consistently, hey, I'm getting out there. I'm networking. I'm out there. And when I'd have my other clients that their business was either staying stagnant or going down, I would ask them, hey, are you networking? And they would give me some reason why they weren't. No, I'm too busy, I'm this, that, whatever the case is. So again, not only did I see the benefits of networking, but I was actually able to see financially other people's and the efforts of their networking. So I was like, yo, there's something here. When I then started actually producing events ourselves, and it was interesting to me, I had somebody that told me we were creating this networking event. And they said, okay, what are you going to call it? And I said, oh, we're going to call it a networking event. And they told me, no, don't put the word networking on it. I said, why? They said, oh, networking has a negative connotation. Does anybody ever hear that? Networking has a negative connotation. I said, really? They were like, yeah, people don't like networking. I was like, but that's what it is. It's networking. So I then started to try to figure out, why does networking have a negative connotation to it? So what I'm going to do is I would like somebody to answer this question. Why do you think networking has such a negative connotation? You can either put it in the chat, or for those brave souls, you can unmute yourself, and it might not be what you're thinking, but why would you think networking has a negative connotation to it? Who's our brave? Go ahead, Miss Lashina, Recruitalina.
Hello. I'm so glad to be here. So I think one of the reasons that it gets the negative connotation is that because people don't know how to do it right. So they end up being so self-absorbed, trying to say what they need to say versus it being this two-way exchange, that it's a little miserable.
Yeah, yes. Anybody else? Go ahead, Terrence.
I think most people think that when they go there, that people are going to try to sell them something. And it goes back to what Lashina said, they don't know how to properly network.
Yeah.
So everybody's afraid they're going to have hundreds and hundreds of people trying to sell them something.
Yes, no, 100%, 100%. Does anybody else have anything?
Yeah, I'll say similar to what Terrence just said. Many times what happens is people think that if other people are going to sell, then I need to sell as well. And I don't want to hear no and be rejected. So I'm just going to avoid the process altogether.
Yeah, yes. And that's huge. And what you just said there, Linda, is huge. I'm going to share my screen real quick. So what I did was I said, well, let me go back. And, people are feeling some type of way about the word. Let me go back and find out the word. What's the definition? The definition of networking is when two or more people are exchanging information with each other and they have a common interest with each other. Two or more people exchanging information with each other and that they have a common interest. That is the definition of networking. So when you think about the word sharing information, and something that Lashina said, kind of self-absorbed, that's not sharing. Being self-absorbed is not sharing, right? And something that that Terrence said, sales. Most times when people go to a networking event, they feel like it's salesy, right? They feel like they're being sold. Do you see the word sales in here anywhere? And something that Linda said, which is super imperative, is that because that there's so many bad apples out here doing it wrong, what it makes a person, for some people, because of other people doing it wrong, they stop networking. which is a travesty, okay? Because when you think about the power of networking, what does the networking do? Networking, and I want everybody to remember this, networking helps you get something that you're trying to achieve. Whatever that is, whether it's information, whether it's resources, whether it's help, whether it's whatever the case is. I have a formula for you guys, okay? Networking or people equals resources. People equals resources. And I'm gonna say it a couple times. People equal resources. Resources equal solutions. Solutions equals growth. Growth equals success. So people equal resources. Resources equal solutions. Solutions equals growth. Growth equals success. Every person that has a need for something has a need for something. That means you now have a problem, okay? When you have a need for something, that means you have a problem. 100% of all businesses that have failed, 100% had a problem they couldn't solve. 100%. And not every problem is because of lack of money. There's some problems that are lack of money. There's some problems that are lack of information. There's some problems that's a lack of hands. Some problems are lack of time. There's so many different things. But when you think about the things that the problem can solve, the umbrella is resources. Money is a resource. Time is a resource. People is a resource. Knowledge is a resource, okay? So the umbrella of the solution is resource. Where do resources come from? People. Money comes from people. Knowledge comes from people. Hands come from people. So people equal resources. Resources now equal the solution. Anytime you hit a problem, you stop. When you solve the problem, you keep going. When you keep going, that's called growing. When you grow too much, what happens? You hit a place called success. Where does success derive from at the beginning? People. This is the formula that you want to have in your life as long as you don't want to be stagnant. If you are a person who says, I have everything that I want, I don't have no want for anything. First off, congratulations. Two, how can I be where you're at? Okay. But if that's your situation, wonderful, you don't have to network. Okay. But for anybody that wants to move, you then have two choices. And this is what I love. This is what I love about numbers. Numbers are super simple. Numbers say that you have two choices. Either you do it or you don't, right? So when you have to move, you can either do it by yourself or do it with other people. Now, some people like doing it by yourself. If you're the type of person that like doing it, great. Congratulations. Me, that's not me. I like carpool. I like potluck dinners, okay? 2 heads better than 1, 3 heads even better, right? That's the type of person I am. So it's one of those to where if you want to do things, what they say is if you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go with other people. That mentality, right? That's the whole concept of networking. And you want to think about networking as exchanging of information between 2 or more people that have a common interest so that we can go further with each other. So we can make this thing easier. So we can share resources. When you're sharing collaboration is huge. Collaboration is huge. That's the power of networking. So today, what I do want everybody to think about is this. Anytime you have a need for something, whatever it is, you have a need for something, then know that if you don't, that means that there's something you don't have. Somebody else probably has it. You got to get out and meet that person. And that's the power of networking. Again, you can do it by yourself, but that is going to be harder. I have been networking now. We just celebrated 11 years in August with our event. with Pro Networker, and I have met a wide range of people out there, a wide range of people. And it's interesting to me to where, for me, my life gets easier because of the number of people that I know. I know some people that that's just like, wow, I didn't know somebody did that, but it's out there. So it's one for you, again, if you want things. So for most of you that are in either corporate America, in your business, or whatever the case is, you got on this call today and you said, we're going to be talking about networking. I would love for somebody, another brave soul, to unmute yourself. And if you had either a question or something you were hoping to learn today, something that either networking has been a challenge for you, or something where you're like, you know what, I'm not sure how to network like this. I just want to hear from one person before I kind of jump into something. Does anybody have something that they would like to ask or have a question on?
Hey, Corey, this is Kendra.
Now,
How are you
Listina,
doing?
you already know, you already did it. So go ahead, Kendra.
So, Corey, I know, and I appreciate it. Corey is the king of networking, and the business that I'm in is in finance. So I've always talked to Corey, and he said there's nothing that's sexy about finance, insurance, health insurance, life insurance, and things like that. So in our industry, that's something that I need to work with you on to make it sexy. So how would you do that, Corey?
Got you. Very good question. For those people who are in financials, you know, it's not sexy. Again, I'm in taxes, not sexy at all. Unless money in your pocket is sexy, then it's real sexy,
that's sexy.
right? Then that's sexy. So where the sexiness comes in is not the money, right? But it's what the money gets you. That car is now sexy. That home is now sexy. That being able to start my business is now sexy. Being able to retire and hang out with my kids and my grandkids, that's the sexy. Going on this vacation is sexy. Being able to sleep in on a Monday is sexy. Being able to go on this trip that I wanted to go on to is sexy. Like, that's the sexy piece of it, right? And it's important that in anybody's industry, some people are in sexy industries. Like when I go to workshops or whatever, and there's a person there that does social media. Social media is sexy. Everybody wants social media, right? Or it used to be super funny when I go to a networking event, and when I was setting up tables for my tax business, they'd always sit me next to somebody who did like cookies and brownies and stuff like that. And it's just like, really, you gonna set me? But it was cool because I worked it out, because I was like, hey, y'all standing in that line. There's nobody here. Listen, let me holler at you real quick, right? But it's one of those to where you always want to figure out sometimes what you actually do is not sexy, but looking at the end result. What does that person want? Like, why would that person come to you that would actually make that sexiness there? So, but again, if you're not sure what it is, it's always making sure that you're sitting down, taking the time to kind of figure out what that looks like, right? But when we go to ERGs, okay, ERG topics you want us to. So when it comes to the ERGs in the groups, networking like for like in-house, right? There's a lot of people that say, hey, why would I network? Actually, you know what? And for those of you that don't know me, I love interaction, okay? Love interaction. For a person who's on this line who works for a company, doesn't have a business, tell me why you would want to network. Tell me why you would want to, and you might not be doing it yourself, but why a person like you should network and how you should network. I'm gonna start calling on some people. That's what I'm gonna do. Let me see here. Krista. I know, I love when I'm like watching this and then I'm like, I'm gonna call on somebody, and just to see everybody. Remember back in school when the teacher was like, who am I gonna call on? Everybody's like, oh, my pencil fell. And they go down, they start going on. So Krista, tell me your situation. Do you work for a company? Are you a business owner? What's your situation?
I work in finance for a nonprofit organization,
That sounds super sexy, Krista.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
Okay, do you like to network?
I'm intimidated by networking, but I'm trying to get more comfortable with it.
Okay, why are you intimidated with it?
I don't know. I feel like it's hard maybe to have a genuine conversation, and either I'm listening for like the angle or the other person's listening for the angle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What was the last good movie you saw, Krista?
I saw Dune recently.
Was it good?
I liked it.
Would
Yeah.
you recommend it?
Yes.
Okay. Krista, you just networked. You just networked. You just
Gotcha.
exchanged some information with me.
Gotcha.
We have a common interest. I like movies. I'm now gonna go check out Dune, right?
Okay.
Did that feel awkward?
A little bit.
Did it? Okay.
Not because of you, but yeah.
Okay. Are you an introvert?
Yeah, I'd say I am.
Okay. Did you know that Beyonce is an introvert?
No.
Beyonce created an alter ego. Do you know her alter ego? Because Beyonce doesn't like being on stage. So she had to create an alter ego. And I'm only asking Krista. She created an alter ego so that she can be on stage. Do you know her alter ego's name?
Sasha?
Yes. Sasha Fierce. Yes. And what happened was, because she created this alter ego, everybody in the Beehive now has been blessed with what she does. Okay. And I want you guys to think about that. Krista, what type of nonprofit do you work for?
It's an environmental nonprofit that helps connect youth to service opportunities.
Okay. Think it's pretty important?
Yes.
Okay. So what happens is, it is your duty, Krista, to let as many people know what it is that you do, because the average person may not know where to find it. So the same way that you would let somebody know about a good movie is the same way that you would want to let somebody know about the good, especially that the nonprofit is doing. Okay. And again, want everybody to think about exchanging of information, not sales. Sometimes everybody likes to buy, but nobody likes to feel sold, right? You don't want to feel sold, but everybody likes to buy something. So if you're just saying, hey, I'm just giving out information, I'm just giving out information. Hey, here's a great movie. Hey, here's a place where if your kids are care about the environment, here's a place where they can go and get some more information about it. And that's literally it. And if you get really good at that, Chris, and anybody else, if you get good at letting people know something, what ends up happening is the average person is appreciative if you give them information that they didn't know. And especially when you get that response back of, oh, really? You know what? I was just having a conversation with my neighbor who has 2 kids, and they were just so interested in the environment and stuff like that. We were looking for a program. And then when you think about, wow, had I not said anything, I now would not be able to give this opportunity to these kids that I don't even know, that I probably will never meet. But had I not opened my mouth to that, okay? So again, as long as a person doesn't feel like that they're having to sell anything, that they're not having to pressure anybody enough, and if you can just get in that speak of, hey, yep, here, I'm just sharing information. Hey, there was a great movie that was on. Hey, this restaurant that I went to was great. Hey, did you know there's a nonprofit that exists that does this? That makes it easier for the networking, okay? That makes it easier. For people in the, one of the things that I know Dr. Linda wanted me to speak about was for people who are in your company and actually networking inside of your company, okay? Super important to do. Super important to network inside of your company. The reason why that's important, now, let me back up. Only if you want movement. If you want to stay exactly where you are, like whatever position you're in, you want to stay there, don't network. Well, actually, that's not true. You may want to network because if they start downsizing, typically they don't start downsizing people they like, okay? Somebody who is like, well, yeah, we don't really know that, you know, we won't miss that person, right? But if you want to keep your job or move, you may want to, again, let people know about you, what your interests are, stuff like that, just so that you can touching people kind of more on a personal level, right? Yeah, hey, my hobby is golf. I like festivals. I like going to sunflower fields, whatever the case is. Because now what happens is one of the important things about networking is creating what's called bonds with people. So, and you never know when you create a bond. Really want to try to create bonds with people. Let me tell you what a bond is. I like wine. Oh, Lola likes wine too. Boom, bond. So with that, now Lola and I can actually talk about wine together because we have that bond with each other, okay? Bonds are the things that actually start increasing the depth of the actual relationship, okay? Most times when I go to a networking event or when we're hosting a networking event, people always say, hey, what are we here for? And people are like, to build relationships. No, you're not here to build relationships. You're here to build bonds. You build relationships later. So when you're at a networking event, very quickly, when you're at a networking event, you're not there to build relationships. You're there to build bonds, okay? Relationships take a long time to build. Bonds are super quick. Is it Lucinda? Am I saying that right? So Lucinda, like, it'd be hard for us to build a relationship at a networking event. You only have 2 hours, 2.5 hours. But Lucinda, hey, I have kids. Oh, Lucinda's like, hey, I have kids too. Boom, bond. Great. Let's tomorrow go meet at Starbucks and talk about our kids. Now we start building a relationship. Okay. So again, thinking about looking at building bonds with people, you know, especially in your corporate environment, you definitely want to try to build bonds with people. Try to figure out what people's interests are. I promise you, if you walk into somebody's office and you see a whole bunch of pictures of them playing a ukulele, I don't know, they might play a ukulele. Now, you might not play a ukulele, but if you know somebody that does or whatever, that might be a bond, okay? So you really want to focus on building bonds with people, and then the bonds is what starts creating the actual relationships. The next piece to that is, again, when it comes to in your company, fortifying kind of your position in that company. I hate to say it like this, but a lot of that stuff is based on relationships. Okay. Oh, Linda, do you have a question?
Yeah, I wanted to underscore what you were saying about the bonds, because I think when you're in an ERG and you're looking for people who will join and become members, or you're looking for people to be allies, it's those bonds. You know, I can support an LGBTQIA organization as a straight woman because some of the things we might bond on, we have similar interests. I don't have to be of your same gender or gender identity or sexual identity. I just have to have some interest in some of the things you have interest in. Or the same thing when we're looking at, you know, maybe a women's organization, we look to recruit women. And so on that level, you can look for women who bond with you. You don't have to come out at them talking about the ERG. Talk about the other things you bond on. And then when you're meeting men, they can become allies and they can join the ERG because we have similar bonds. So I just wanted to underscore that, because when we think about ERGs, we often think about who's like me. They don't have to be like you in the traditional sense. What kinds of things, what common interests do we have? And there are your members and your allies right there.
Exactly. And the bonds are super, super imperative. And thank you for that. Bonds are super imperative, because what ends up happening is, just like she said, you might look at the outside of a group and be like, okay, we probably don't have a lot in common. But then if you start going a little deeper, then you start finding out, wait, we actually do have some things in common. Once you find the things that are in common, those are the bonds, but those are also the connect points between what could now be collaboration. Collaboration. And collaboration, working with these other groups, is imperative. Again, it's about being able to work with other people to then start now sharing resources. So again, if you're looking for more members a part of your group, finding these bonds. Hey, how can we assist you in what your wants are? How can you assist us with what our wants are? Trying to look for other organizations that would actually be a part of your group, a part of your ERG, which is really important. Getting that supportive. How about if you found another ERG group to where you thought, well, you know what, I couldn't really get much from them. I mean, they're their own group, we're our own group. You know, what's the difference? But no, there is. They might have an idea that you didn't know. And you're like, oh, wow, that's a wonderful idea. Like, oh, let me now take that to my group. The powers, again, and I can't stress this enough, the powers of being able to network and to share resources is done better with multiple people versus little people, right? Versus as few people. It's better to do this in as more people as possible. And again, and that structure behind it that holds that are those bonds. So Linda, definitely thank you for that. Who's that, Queens? Who's Queens on here? That's for those of you that don't know, that's Katie May. That is my mother. Has joined the call today. She's still learning, so that's why she's talking. You can't hear her yet, but but listen, when it comes to the networking, so while we're talking about this, and I love to get the interaction from people. We talked about bonds, we talked about collaboration and things like that. Does anybody have any questions while I'm going through this so far? Does anybody have any situations that might have happened where they're like, yo, how do I network to get this? How do I network to get through this? Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Some of our regulars who have been on so many of these calls for whatever reason aren't here today, but one of the questions that people often ask me is how to get that conversation started. I think we have this elevator pitch mentality in our minds. You've just shown us that that's not necessary. Just talk about bonding, or things that you have in common. But once it gets to the point of having to introduce like who you are and the ERG that you might be representing, could you maybe give some suggestions as to just what they would say? What do you say in that 30 seconds to let somebody know?
So for business owners, we talk about having your 30-second pitch, right? Pitch or elevator pitch or introduction, whatever you want to call it. In that 30 seconds, you should be able to say, you know, your name, your business name, your products and your service, what you do and who you do it for and how it benefits a person. Okay, so obviously what it is that you do, how you do it, who you do it for, and how it benefits them. And again, being able to do this all in 30 seconds. With that, for those who might not have a business, it's really important to be able to, you know, introduce yourself. Yes, and let's use Lynette. Let's see here. Unmute yourself, Lynette, if you can. I just like picking on people sometimes.
Unmuted.
I wonder, how are you doing today?
Good, and yourself?
I'm well, thank you for asking. Lynette, what do you do?
I'm an IT consultant.
IT consultant?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for who?
And this is good. I need this. Why you pick on me?
That's what I do. Yes.
So I do IT consultant for. That's the issue. I am rethinking who I'm going to do it for. But initially, what I've been doing is helping others, small businesses that are IT as well, do their support. So that's where I'm thinking I'm going to change over into. But what I've been doing for 20 plus years is tech support for various companies.
Okay. And do you enjoy doing it?
Yes.
No
I say
pressure.
that
No
because
pressure.
lately, I think the deal is it's been difficult to get more clients.
Okay.
And so as a result, I'm rethinking some things to see if I need to just basically change my entire focus. And what I've been asked is who have you done it for in the past?
Okay.
And you enjoyed those clients.
Yep.
And that answer was, generally it was other IT companies.
Okay.
And I go out and, either in person or remotely assist their clients on behalf of them, and they know nothing about us. So that's been some of the areas that I've enjoyed working for those type of clients.
Okay. Do you know anybody else who does exactly what you do?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Do you talk with them?
Yes.
Good. Keep doing that. Keep doing that. We have this thing where we talk about network with your competitors. Network with people who are in the same space as you. Okay. And the reason for that is more than likely, if you're having certain experiences, they're possibly having the same experiences, or they've had them before in the past. Oh, how did you get past that? Oh, I did this. And
Okay.
most times people like, when I come up with a competitor, oh no, I don't talk to a competitor. They can take business from me. No, that's a mind of scarcity. We live from abundance.
Mhm.
So you definitely want to make sure that you're talking with other people who are in that same field so you can get that information from them. Okay. For people, tell me somebody who works for a company who doesn't have a business. I'm trying to find somebody. What is that, Jan FL? You're on mute. Do you work for a company or do you have a business?
I work for a company.
Wonderful. What do you do?
Actually, I am a broker for an insurance company.
Okay.
So actually, I'm non-captive.
Non-captive.
Mhm.
Okay. Do you like networking?
I love networking.
You love networking?
Yes.
Are you an introvert?
Somewhat,
I'm a introverted tendencies.
but still like the network. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do you have challenges networking?
No.
No? Why is that? Why do you love networking?
I like meeting people of different walks of life.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what does that do for you? When you meet somebody new, what does that do for you?
I like to find out exactly what they do. And a lot of times that helps me with my life challenges.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And I know, Linda, we're probably going to be wrapping up here in a moment, but that's exactly it. It really intrigues me about how many people, one, are on this earth, which means how many experiences that there are out there. And really that makes life easier. Like when you think about like before the pandemic, everybody's going to work. And remember how you felt when you found this shortcut or somebody told you about that shortcut, and it's shortened your commute 30 minutes or 45 minutes, right? And that's just by the power of knowing about somebody. Remember that time when somebody told you, oh, hey, I'm about to go buy this. Hey, wait until Friday because it's now going to go half off on sale, or go to this place, right? Like that is the power of learning about people and stuff like that, to be able to now get this information that's going to help you in what you're doing. So I challenge each of you. So like Jan, is it Jan? Is it just Jan?
Janice.
Janice, okay. Janice loves networking. Not many people like Janice. I mean, yeah, me, Lashina, Miss Latoya over there in Cali. My mom likes networking. I know that there's some people who love networking, but then there's some people who just don't. Here's the thing. The same way like Beyonce. Beyonce doesn't like being on stage, but she has built her career because she figured out a way to get over that hump. So for those of you that don't like networking, or it doesn't come easy for you and stuff like that, my challenge to you is to figure out what it is that you want. What do I want? What do I want to achieve? What are my needs? And would it be beneficial for me to go over that barrier? Would it be beneficial for me to do something that would actually get me to that, regardless if I like it or not? Is there a way for me to get over that barrier to actually do it? And what would happen is if you actually can find the beauty in the process, find like in the process, love in the process is what we call it. What'll happen is you'll actually enjoy it a little bit more. One, again, some people's personalities just gravitate to that. Some people's don't. But at the end of the day, this is the environment. So regardless of, so there's some people who's like, look, I want to see the Great Barrier Reef, but I don't want to get wet. It's gonna be a little tough. You got to get in the water. Like, I want to swim with the fish, but I don't want to get wet. That's the environment. Like you have to get wet, right? But it's one of those to where you want to figure out, how can I make this easier for myself? And thinking about, again, the most important thing, you're not selling. You're not selling, you're telling, you're exchanging information. And especially, and you're always looking for collaborations. How can we work together? I promise you, if you always come at the angle of how can we work together? How can we work together? How can we partner up and do this thing together? You will actually get further. And again, that now takes away from sales and starts to now figure out, okay, how can I help you accomplish your goals while you're helping me accomplish mine? That's collaboration. So, do we have any other questions?
Please,
Was this
while you
beneficial?
have them, ask some questions. If you don't, I will. Now, I told you, he's one of my favorite people. We're personal friends. I can get to him anytime. So I'm trying to give you the opportunity to ask him whatever questions you have before I get with mine.
Well, you know what? I'll ask my little question here. I want to hear a nugget. I want to see if I've been beneficial today. So I want somebody who hasn't spoken yet to unmute yourself and give me a nugget that you heard today of something that you said, you know what, that makes sense. And that's something I'm going to take with me. And Lucinda, you qualify for this because technically you didn't say much. So you can be the one to say something if you like.
Well, I was getting ready to say something, so I'm glad that I qualified.
Yes.
The thing that really, I loved the part about bonds and how bonds give us that point of connection that we can then build a deeper relationship with. I think that
Yes.
the pressure in networking is to go in and think, I got to build relationships with all these people, and it feels really superficial, and you're only there for 2 hours or whatever.
Right.
You're not trying to build relationships. Relationships will come over time.
Yes.
But you're trying to find those bonds, those points of connection so that you can build a collaboration over time. That was a great distinction for me, and I'll take that away.
Awesome. And Lucinda, I have just saved you hours of time of networking, because no, you do not have to build a relationship at an event. You go, you sit with somebody 3 minutes, 5 minutes, find the bond and move on.
It's also the other thing too, and you said this, but it really stuck. It's the bonds that we have with people are fun. Like, I want to talk to you about kids in sunflower fields now, because I'm like, oh, I like that too, right? So it makes it feel much more enjoyable to be like, oh, I can't wait to talk to this person again, because we both love Lego sets,
Yes.
or whatever it is, and like that actually makes it more enjoyable, because I'm one of those folks who doesn't love networking that much.
And thank you for saying that. You have figured out a way to make it more enjoyable. And if you can figure out a way to do that, that's where your superpower comes in. Because now there'll be, oh yeah, I remember, oh yeah, she's the one that likes talking about sunflowers and stuff like that. Yeah, I completely remember her, right? If you can figure out that way to do that, that's your superpower. Good for you. Penny.
Hey, Corey.
Go ahead. Oh, go ahead, David, and then Penny.
Oh, okay. I was going to jump in, but Lucinda got in and took my thunder away from me for a moment. But I'm going to even elaborate on that a little bit more on the bonding. And thank you for that. You, as long as I've known you, you've never shared that little bit, that nugget with me, of course, but I'm sure you shared it with other people about the bonding versus the relationship. But I remember once, I'm going to share this story with your audience here. Um, we've been you and I've been networking for quite some time. I want to say maybe 10 years or more.
Yeah.
And at one event, it was a speed networking event where you only got, I think, about 3 minutes, less than that, really, of speaking to someone, and then you move on to the next person.
Yeah.
And not knowing it, but one young lady and I, when we came across and we started talking within that 3-minute window, we developed a bond, as I now understand it, that it was, that we actually took ourselves out of line because we didn't realize that we wanted to talk to anybody else at that event anymore
Wow.
because now we want to talk to each other. And that was with Sabrina, by the way.
Oh,
And
wow.
here we are 11, maybe 12 years later, that relationship has flourished to become a family relationship, a husband and wife. I've met her husband, she's met my wife. So we developed a true bond, as you said, not realizing that's what was going on. So now I'm going to talk to the folks within my business about not looking for that relationship up front and looking for that bond. And that was a nugget. Now I'm just going to take that and run with that one so
Good.
that people can get more comfortable in
Yes.
doing more networking and realizing that's all they're looking for is that one, as Lucinda said, that one little piece of seed that you
Yes.
can flourish with and
Yeah.
let that grow instead of getting frustrated by the time and trying to do the whole big thing all at one time. Because sometimes you can't. If it's 1,000 people in the room, there's no way that you're going to do that. You're going to have to look for the 1 or 2 people and run with that. So I
Yep.
appreciate you, Corey. And thank you for
Thank
inviting me
you.
on this call today. I'm going to have to
Thank
jump
you.
off. I got to get ready to go for PT. And I need to call you later, but thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you for that, David. Penny.
Oh, hello, Corey. Thank you for allowing me to speak. And no disrespect to you and the host, but I take care of my dementia mother, so I didn't need any surprises. That's why my face is not showing.
No
But
problem.
I was invited to you, listen to you from my one of my leaders, KC, Kendra Calhoun. So she told me to get on today.
Yeah.
And one thing that stuck out to me is that don't look at network marketing as a exchange it. Don't look at it as sale, but exchanging information, which was
Yes.
awesome because a lot of people see networking or network marketing as you're selling, I'm selling.
Right.
So that was a great point. And before we get off, can you please say this again? People equal resources equal solution. I didn't get the other 2, or somebody can put it in the chat for me.
I'll put it
And
in the
another
chat,
thing-
actually.
Okay.
I'll put it in the chat.
Another thing I want to say before we get off, although I see myself as an introvert, but as you see, I can speak and I know that's my voice is for the people. So I want to ask you this question. Because I'm a caretaker and the business that I'm in, I see that a lot of us are into finances. And I actually know and believe in my heart what I do. I know what I have, other people don't have. So we're all here for a purpose. So when we share information, you did say those things too, that some people have things that you may not have. You can gather information from each other. So that I do know about myself, but can you kind of suggest to me what it is that I need to do? Because I know I need to step out and get before people more. And because I can't get out as a caretaker, do you suggest that I join as many network as possible? So when I do have time to do this, what I'm doing today, like I did when I came on, I looked you up and I joined your Facebook, asked to join your Facebook group, follow you on Twitter and some other places. So do you suggest that I join networkers?
I do suggest that. And definitely, and right now, what's been a benefit is virtual. Virtual has been huge. So now that people who can't literally get out to do these, you can do what you did today. You can get on, you can have your video not shown, you can be still taking care of your responsibilities and still getting this information. And virtual has made all of that possible now. So that's one thing we can thank COVID for. It's not many, but that's one we can.
That's
Okay.
one.
Before we go,
Go ahead.
I really wanted to hear from Robert. Robert was another male on. Robert, give me a nugget for today, real quick.
All right,
30 seconds.
the collaboration part, in that I think we're in a take and take world, and I, like the lady who just spoke, am a caregiver, and mom has Parkinson's, and I take care of other people, and I was a teacher in a former life, and I think that we need to learn that how can we mutually help each other and alleviate some of the problems of the world through networking and sharing, and it's not just a one-way street. And it's just not about the profitability of myself within the network, but rather how can we become a community? And there's a big word called consubstantiality. It's together we stand and support each other from underneath. It's creating a foundation of people of all shapes, sizes, and colors. And that's what I think we need as a world, as a small community, as a town, a neighborhood, and as a society. The
Love
end.
it. Love it. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
I'm glad you called on him. Robert is someone that I've known for well over 20 years as well. He's a phenomenal facilitator, and many of the Turning Point Leadership Group courses that are taught in the space of diversity, equity, and inclusion, Robert facilitates for us. So good to see you, my friend. I'm sorry that our time has come to an end, but please show some love for Corey. He has done a phenomenal job. As I said, one of my favorite people, whenever I think about networking, Corey is the only person that comes to mind. And, you know, it's interesting because people talked about being introverts, et cetera. I'm not an introvert. I'm an extroverted person, but I really am not big on networking. And I really am kind of shy. And most of the people that know me find that hard to believe, but I am more comfortable on a stage speaking to 5,000 people, which I've done many times throughout my career. I'm more comfortable doing that than I am walking up to someone at a cocktail party and introducing myself. And I think the difference is, and so maybe this will help someone too, when I am on the stage, you're not examining Dr. Linda, you're examining the information that's coming out of my mouth. But when I'm one-on-one, I feel like I am the content. I don't like being the center of attention. I like for the information to be. So in thinking about networking, when you're thinking about that bond, if you take the focus off of, I'm about to walk up to Kendra or Valerie or Robert or whomever, no, just think about it from the standpoint of, I have some information or something that I'm about to gift to that person. And if the focus is more on that, it might help. Because I have a hard time still at networking events. It's like, what do I say? I don't want to interrupt them. I don't want to, and I really go through that. Like I said, when I'm sharing information on the stage, no problem. But otherwise, yeah, it can be a challenge. So we have come to the end of Energize for 2021. Thank you all for being a part of this journey with us. Many, many thanks to Terrence Dowling, our sponsor for the year. Joelle will make sure you get the information for your free 30-minute consultation. We always do a gift of a $25 gift card. And Janice, you are the winner of that $25 gift card today. So I will make sure you get that. Also, even though they're not here, this is the only prize that I will give away to people who are not here, would be Estelle Redding and Marcine Pickering. And the reason I'm going to do Estelle and Marcine, we picked them specifically because they have attended more of these events than anybody else. And as I said, we've done them once a month free for the entire year. So look for, you are now on our mailing list, look for the announcements. And some of these topics will be revisited. We'll certainly be asking Corey to come back again. And if you have an idea for a topic, go ahead, put it in chat and we'll try to work it into the schedule for next year. So thank you so much. I wish you all a happy and prosperous holiday season, as well as the new year. And we'll see you back again in January. Corey, my friend, can't thank you enough. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Truly, truly appreciate you doing this. And having
all right.
me.
Take
all right.
care, everyone. Bye-bye.
See you later.
Nice to meet you, Mom.
You too.
Bye, Katie Mae.
Goodbye.
Bye.